Na 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 na.
It's episode 90 of the Red River Horror Podcast. This week's episode will feature Joe and Eddie discussing AI, what scares them about AI, the start of 2023, what's been good, what's been bad. And then I'm going to ask Eddie some questions straight out of Dreaddit. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 90 of the Red River Horror Podcast. All right, welcome back. Hey, despite all our beans, we're still just some rat and some jeans. Hey, Ed, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm the host, Joe Zakrusky. It's episode number 90 of the Red River Horror Podcast.
What the hell? Rat and jeans and beans and what?
Something stupid that's just been stuck in my head for about a week and a half. Anyway,
Okay.
It's been a minute.
Yes.
We're getting deeper into 2023. There's been
Yes.
some good things and some not so good things, some
Yes.
mixed things. Our last episode, we were discussing with our pal Joe Griffin. We were going over The Last of Us before that premiered. It has since wrapped up. It was one fantastic show. I don't think you watched an episode of it, but I'll tell you.
I got one or two in. Yeah,
that's
I got
right.
one or
That's
two
right.
in.
You did start.
Yeah.
So, we'll spare the details. We'll get more into it, I guess, on another episode. We have another guest. Overall, A+ show was just fantastic. Everybody I talked to who played the games absolutely loved it.
Nice.
The only gripes I've heard from people was they wish there was some more of the infected. But that's what season 2 would be for. In post-apocalyptic shows, I always like the humanity aspect of it more
Yeah.
so than the terror of zombies or whatever infected type thing. Because people are pretty disgusting in those desperate situations, and I find that more scary than.
Plus, as an artist too, you think like that you're putting a lot of if the infected are one of the main draws, I guess, of the game, or that's who you have to take out, and you wish there were more of them. Now you're kind of like you're putting a lot of work on those actors to get it right, the people that are designing the whole world that you're walking through to get it right. So, I could see that would make sense that a second season would be more running and gunning, and this kind of just being like, okay, let's get to know these people, let's establish a relationship with these people. So I'm looking forward to finishing. I got one or two in, and I really liked what I saw.
Yeah, HBO has it figured out on how to make a show and hire the right people for the show. Even their rejects have turned into major franchises, which was Breaking Bad, Mad Men, and The Walking Dead.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody knew that. They were all rejected from HBO first and then picked up by AMC. Fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not Breaking... no, probably. Who knows? Whatever. So let's get back into it.
Yes, we're back. Joe, I just wanted to say welcome back. There was a lot that has transpired in the first quarter of horror, Q1.
Yeah.
So I'm looking ahead to a lot of exciting things. In the present, there are a lot of exciting things, and there was a lot of exciting things that happened since Christmas. So it's good to be back with you and talking to the Red River Horror audience.
Yeah,
about some horror, man. Let's go. Let's get started.
Fantastic. And then on March 14th, an article dropped on redriverhorror.com from Stacey Lane Wilson of Can the Horror Genre Save the Movie Business? And, all I had to do was read the top. And it's like, well, yeah. There's been, since post-COVID, the horror releases have really been bringing in the money.
That's exactly right.
And that's where I was like, the one that really stuck out to me, I think just because it's a good PG-13 horror, was that Megan.
Yes.
So I can't pronounce it the way they say it in the movie. Megan.
Yeah.
So I was watching that. I was watching with my daughter and my niece last night, and they're both like, "Why do they say it like that?" I was like, "I don't know. I can't even mimic it."
Well,
is it an accent thing? I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess that with the way it's stylized too, I don't know. But you kind of buried the lead a little bit.
Yeah.
You said something very important, and this is a big. I'm proud of you for this. So anything that was PG-13 horror back in the day, you were like, no, I'm not going to see that.
Yep.
It's another PG-13 horror, another PG. We would only see R-rated ones if we were going to the theater, if we were going to commit. So you liked Megan as a PG-13 horror film. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, something I could watch with Zoe. So something I could watch with my daughter. I think that really hit the spot for something that everybody could watch.
Yeah.
And was relevant to today. shows like Black Mirror. I mean, there's plenty of other things where technology goes wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So why do we keep playing with technology instead of putting any checks in place? It's like ChatGPT has been a huge thing right now. When does this all backfire?
Skynet, man. I hate to be super nerd. I know that's like the nerdiest you could possibly go, but it doesn't seem that far-fetched that Skynet could be waging wars soon on not only the human race, but other. So I just got just to kind of encroach on what you're talking about, give a little preview here. Joe, I don't know if you received this. So you have ChatGPT. I know Microsoft bought that, right? That's like now a Microsoft product. Well, 4 days ago, I get an email from Google that says, Meet Bard, an early experiment by Google. Because you're a Google One member, we'd like to offer you the opportunity to be among the first to sign up for the new Bard experience and provide feedback. So now we got Microsoft with ChatGPT. I'm going to say it wrong a million times. And now we have Google with Bard.
So probably more out there. I mean,
Apple's going to get that autonomous car going, then they're going to kill us all.
There's just so many things of like, I mean, for years of just like technology advances beyond humans' capability, and then the technology wins.
Yep.
Or sometimes it doesn't win, where it creates a near crisis. Like you go back to that 80s movie, War Games.
Oh, yeah. That's a great movie.
I mean, that's dawn of the internet, where the internet almost causes a nuclear war.
Right? Oh my gosh. That is a good one.
Yeah, and now
digging deep. War Games.
Yeah, now where you have AI that can completely mimic someone's like text, like
yeah. Another thing, warning for you. So you get those phone calls. I know the Red River Horror audience is smart enough to know this, but I just wanted to make people aware. It's happening more and more. It's exactly what you're saying, like those like mimicking what you're saying. I just heard a report on the radio the other day. That's one of the newest scams. So even just saying hello, like to add to one of those accidental scam calls.
Yep.
Even just, everybody knows by now to not say yes. Like we don't say.
Definitely don't do that.
Yeah, if someone calls and it's whatever, and just like yes, no. Do not say yes. Period. I think everyone knows that by now. But now, the best thing to do when you get a call from a number you don't know and it doesn't pop up scam likely is to just wait.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. They can tell on the other line if something's there. Because then if it is someone just like, oh, hello, Ed, if it's not, if it's something more sinister or someone trying to steal your stuff, just wait for them to go first. Give them the floor.
I know in like a few years from now, Apple will say like they have a special like call screener that, Android already has. It's been rolled out on the Pixel now. So if it's a number it doesn't recognize, just tap a button that says screen. And it's a robotic prompt that says, please state your name and why you're calling.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's, you know what though? I think that's what is a Google Voice. Because I've actually called, I call a lot of numbers in Washington, D.C. Ooh. But that's what they say. It's just like Google Voice says, state your name.
Yep.
It's like, yes.
Yeah. So it makes the person on the other side identify themselves. And before you pick up. So there's at least that's in place for stealing, that prevents stealing people's voice, which was a big factor in Megan. She took that to her advantage.
Oh, yeah. It's a creepy feature. If ever fleshed out properly in the real world here, I don't like that. I mean, oh my gosh, right back to Terminator.
Yeah.
The robot cop.
Yeah.
What was it?
The T-1000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him having the whole conversation. Oh man. James Cameron was onto this way back.
Yep. I know. And then you got the Wachowskis with the Matrix, right? I mean, it's just such a common theme. And then seeing a movie like, what was the one when we were younger? Pulse? No, with the cell phones.
Pulse wasn't One Missed Call. I saw that one time, didn't like it. But it wasn't that. Pulse we did see. I think we saw that in theaters.
We were joking. We were laughing. We only wanted to see it because it had Spanish from Old School in it.
Yes.
Like, that's why it's like, it's got Spanish from Old School in it. It's gonna be. We're gonna see it. I don't know.
Now apparently, so I wasn't a huge fan of Pulse.
No, it wasn't that good.
But apparently the Japanese one is very, very good. Like what it's based off of, the one when they were doing all those J-horror redos. that was apparently really good. Oh, Kristen Bell is in Pulse. How funny is that? A budget of $20.5 million, box office of $30 million. So let's see. Was Spanish in that? Yes, it was. Yeah. Rick Gonzalez.
Yeah.
That's Spanish.
Yeah.
What is it? Come on. If the kids see you without that helmet on, it can be very traumatizing for these kids. I'm sorry, man. It's crazy hot. You're better than that.
You're better than that.
But that's right. Yes, you were thinking correctly. So Pulse, just to get into that real quick, again, I hear the Japanese one is amazing. But it was also written by Wes Craven and Ray Wright, directed by Jim Sonzero, remake of Kiyoshi Kurosawa's 2001 Japanese horror film, Cairo. Film stars Kristen Bell, Ian Somerhalder, and Christina Milian. The film spawned 2 straight-to-DVD sequels, Pulse 2 Afterlife and Pulse 3, both released in 2008. I don't think we saw either of those.
No, but same thing. It's technology.
Yep.
Again. And
anyway, that's Pulse. We'll have to. That's another thing I want to. As we're back and we're ramping up the podcast, baby. We're back. I really want to go through some of the older 2000s like bad horror movies.
Me
the
too.
Ones that just weren't that good.
I'd like to really dig into the straight to DVD sequels. And,
yeah.
I mean, there's some random where it's I bet there's plenty that are better than you might anticipate.
There are. But I recently went back and watched The Fog from 2005. Mm-hmm. Now, that was a mistake because I already like The Fog a lot, the 1981, I think it was, whatever, from John Carpenter.
Yeah.
So that's probably not the best, but I went back and watched the 2005, I think it was, Fog. It was not good. So it had me thinking, it's just I think we need to flesh some of these older 2000 horror movies out to see if we can find any gems from the pack.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I definitely want to get back to watching some of those old the original versions of all the Japanese horror ones.
Yes.
I was getting into it at the time. Remember, it's you go to Blockbuster, Hollywood, and they always had the Japanese copy too, mm-hmm. Because everybody was doing both.
Yeah, which was smart.
Yeah, and then how I was, especially at a younger age, where it's as soon as it became kind of fun and cool to do, I was checked out.
Sure. I'm the same way.
It's corny now.
Yeah.
Posers.
No, I mean, at that age, man, being counterculture is cool.
Yeah, right.
That in itself is a thing. But one thing, and we're going all over the place, just real quick, I thought it was funny. Melissa and I were talking, my wife, we were talking the other day, and you know how the hipster thing exists now with the IPAs and the hoodies and the flannels and all that stuff. It's just it was funny. I remember you saying just hey, then if that's the basis for all this, then I was the first hipster.
I know.
And so we were thinking about that. Just I guess that's kind of right.
It's joking about it. Just wearing my corduroy pants and a flannel shirt with my dark rimmed glasses, being looking like a total nerd.
Hey.
It became the style, and that was not intentional. That was just what I had.
So it was just funny.
Yeah.
We were literally just talking about that. Yeah, back to they had the Japanese horror, all the remakes that came out, which some of them were really good.
Yeah,
and you watch the originals, and some of them are a whole lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I just love The Grudge. And I know it's people get silly. I've talked about it a bunch of times. It's just one, and I would like to. I know there's more sequels to it out there
mm-hmm.
than the remake and The Grudge 2. There's another couple in between.
I thought there was also a Grudge 3, if I'm not mistaken.
There is.
Okay, so I've never seen that.
No, it's one of those, you would avoid it like the plague because you don't want to get involved with these straight to DVD ones. But that's something we can really get in. We can sink our teeth into.
Yes.
At some point. And then, but just as far as the AI stuff's concerned, it's always just a natural fear. And I wonder what's next now that we've just reached. Are we just going to keep recycling smart robots?
There's really.
We got cell phones, androids. We got what could be the next thing?
So if you look at it this way too, man.
Great time to remake Christine.
It is a great time to remake Christine, as long as they don't make it a PG-13 remake.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look just a few weeks back, the 2 Russian planes took out a U.S. drone, but they showed you the footage from that drone. So if like you think about it, and it was crystal clear, you could say played that video over and over again on all the cable news spots. Video's crystal clear. You think that drone is driving by itself?
Yeah, from a guy probably in like Arizona.
So like, it is. We'll get into the deeper cell phone creepy, all the information we're turning over to our devices every day. But I was thinking that for some reason gave me pause. It's just like you hear about the drones, you hear about drone strikes, you hear about a lot of that technology. It's been in effect for a long time now. But actually seeing it for me, seeing footage from it, it was real. It was like, oh my gosh. So if that thing was like Megan, or if the Russians took over control of that and sent it back our way, it was the first time like seeing that video on loop kind of over and over again. It's like, wow, if that decided to turn on us, or let's just say, I know that they're not this sophisticated yet, but let's just say that was carrying a nuclear weapon, and it went rogue and said, you know what? Like, I think I'm going to start a war today. The machine, it could.
Yeah. Forget, was it a TV show or movie? There's something where it's like a drone gets hacked and taken control of by like somebody like.
That sounds like a 24 plot.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Bring that back one more time. Bring it back. They're like, Jack Ryan's basically 24 on Amazon if you want something with that kind of vibe.
Okay.
Or Homeland. You never did Homeland.
I never did Homeland.
Which is done by some of the writers of 24. Okay. So definitely give that a shot.
Yeah. But so now I guess that brings us to our devices, what that movie Pulse warned about. And it's just strange that this week the CEO of TikTok was in front of Congress about this very thing, data.
Yeah.
Everything that it's collecting that you're kind of turning over on your device to the Chinese, to wherever. Like, we're very free with our devices. We're very free with what we give to them.
Pretty much. It's that we go down that's a whole rabbit hole to go down to on like data mining, what's being shared, because there's certain products that are abroad that are not available in the US because of their data mining tactics. And that's one of the concerns does TikTok do those kinds of things. It's like, is someone stealing everything they know about you? And ultimately, I mean, they sell to you.
Yep.
I mean, that's the creepier thing, is picking up your trends, and it's terrifying. I sat in on a seminar. It was like I forget, was it marketing? Some kind of, it was like these technologies. There's like, you see a car in the mall. It has cameras in it, picking up on what you're looking at, like identifying where are people looking the most, like what are they most interested in when they're walking by it,
right?
And saving that, and that's how they like advertise it on TV or advertise it online. It's like, oh my god,
yeah.
So, I mean,
I'm just saying your device is getting pinged all the time. Your device, you are forfeiting a lot. It's not just before, like 10 years ago, it was just like, all these people like Facebook and Instagram, they're all taking our data and selling to us.
Yeah.
Now it's just like you think of how far that's come.
Yeah, I mean, the rule of thumb that doesn't get shared enough, and it's like when you tell it to people and then they figure it out, is if the product is free, you are the product.
Yes. That's a guy like that.
That's what it is.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. You are.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
Yep. If a product is free, then you are the product.
Yeah. And that's almost like a horror movie in itself when you think that, and that's just reality.
That's a good point.
It's very scary. And that's where these AI movies, that's where they get me. I'm like, what's the next thing? It's like, I was thinking the next thing, probably like Neuralink. Have you ever looked like, so that's one of Elon's babies.
Okay, I have not. Is that?
That's a brain chip.
Oh God, no, I've definitely not heard of that. I was thinking of the satellite that that gives you
Starlink.
It's Starlink.
So you got Starlink, and then Neuralink.
Neuralink, I haven't.
Which is I think might be a scalp implant, but either it's connecting to your brain waves.
Oh no.
So imagine like, here's a horror movie for you. It's like that just becomes popular with like healing people or whatever, and just turns people into like a drone of slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about Black Mirror. I actually had to stop watching Black Mirror because it was depressing.
Very.
It was too much. Like I couldn't.
Yeah.
Again, I've said this a million times on this podcast. Sometimes I just want to see Jason Lives. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just want to see
Absolutely.
people. So when I put on Black Mirror and try to continue and go down and watch more, there was something in your eye, I think it was,
Yep.
that could record everything in
Your whole life.
and it was like depressing. It was like, so now like the guy suspects that his wife's cheating on him, but because of everything that's happened, so like he's watching back, like he's replaying things that have happened. Like, all right, this is like, I don't know. It was very depressing.
Did you see the one that was like Alexa? I think it's called White Christmas. Was it? Yeah. It's where they take your consciousness and put it into a device.
No. Oh gosh.
So, I mean, I love this stuff and I hate it because it's just every time I sit back, I get just freaked out.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. Luckily, like Megan had enough like odd comedic relief at times.
Yeah.
So it kept a nice flow. Yeah. So
I think Megan was a surprise to everybody. I think Megan, we're so used to seeing, like, think of the the reboot of Child's Play and how disappointing it was, because it's just like, oh, okay, it's going to be AI and you know, there's an app you download on your phone. So but it didn't really use that, because that's not what Child's Play is. You know what I mean? It didn't really use that concept very well. So I think people saw the reboot of Child's Play, the one with Mark Hamill being the voice, didn't like it, but had this expectation that maybe Megan would be that kind of thing, and it wasn't. It was different. It was unique, and yes, there was comedy and there was some comic relief, and then there was some really creepy things too. So
yeah, I mean, it takes elements from the truth. Is every time they try and like build some kind of like smart AI, and then once they expose it to humanity, it goes haywire. Mm-hmm. So we are an odd bunch of animals. I can tell you that much.
Yes,
maybe not ready for robots.
No.
Oh man.
But okay, let's go to the interwebs. Well, I think you got something.
Well, yeah, and it's just like jumping off of that. Megan was a success at the box office. It's been a success streaming, and you know, why are people going to the movies for so much for horror movies? Atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, watching a horror movie in the dark is what's up. It's great. You know, I mean, let's see what do we got in 2023. Just going from this article. Megan, rated PG-13, gross to date was $95 million.
$95 million for a PG-13 slasher.
Yeah, and you know what that is?
Crazy.
That's a lot of like teens getting out on a weekend.
Yeah.
You know, adults, families, like anybody can go see it. Scream 6 currently running at $44 million.
Well, that was its opening.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, I couldn't. I was sitting in the studio one day, and I look up, and I'll just say one of the cable news channels. It was just like Scream shreds the box office. I'm like, wait, what? Scream?
Yeah, and the thing that cracks me up about Scream is like it's just become a parody of itself.
Yeah.
At this point, where it was like a parody within itself, and now it's just gone full blown. But you know, that's fine if people are enjoying it. You know,
Well, I think one thing that will really help Scream, because I know because the last year's was so successful, because it was good. Scream 5 was really good, and Scream 4 was good before it. I think that with that film franchise, as it needs to. So is it 3 that they're going to make? So there's going to be one more of this trilogy. I think
everything's got to have 3 now, right?
So I think that there's of course going to be another one, but now it's weird. Now you kind of have an anchor star in the Scream franchise in Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
So it's something that you had Neve Campbell, and rightly she said, like, I'm not going to be in this one. I'm not going to be in Scream 6. It's time for us to take a break from Sidney Prescott. And now you kind of pick up with a few characters that we met last time. Yeah. But now one of them's a bona fide star, like an actual Hollywood.
It's good passing of the torch.
Yeah.
And Jenna Ortega killing it. You know, she had Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Which was great. She was in what's the movie we both enjoyed? X.
Yes, she was in that.
Yeah. So
what I'm saying is, you can, in the traditional sense, So thinking of it now, actually, it doesn't shock me as much that Scream killed the box office, because it's like, okay, well, how movies used to be made is you used to kind of have a star that you've centered around, and we don't really see that much anymore. So now thinking moving forward, if they are going to make another Scream, which I'm sure they are, you have someone to kind of focus on.
You got a new face of the franchise.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Good for her.
Yep.
Good for the franchise.
Yeah.
And it's definitely designed in a way that works really well with a new generation of people who go into the movies, and that's a conversation and continually have to have in the era, like, everything being remade, rebooted.
Yeah.
Is you got to remind yourself it's not for you.
Right.
I forget what was it, that 90s show, not to get off horror topic, but like I've said it to a bunch of people. It's like, they're like, I don't know. It just kind of had like this cheesy vibe to it. It's just like, it's not for you. Like, my kid loves it because that's who it's for.
Right.
How old was I when I watched that 70s show? It's designed for someone that age to watch that 90s show, not for my 37-year-old viewing pleasure.
Wow.
It's for the 13-year-old.
But yeah, so you and I hate...
like...
But the funny thing is, why were we not, and I don't want to stop your flow here,
no,
but why were we not that into the remakes and the reboots as much? Because we had seen all the original stuff.
Yeah.
So by the time they started rebooting films, you didn't think it's just like, these remakes, these reboots, except for, we've said it before.
The one that bothers me the most is I thought the Friday the 13th one was so good.
I did too, actually.
I know.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
And it just didn't get the... So it was Nightmare.
Nightmare, I think, is... Nightmare... The reboot of Nightmare was completely underrated.
Yeah.
Completely underrated.
And they just didn't get any traction. Just because, just established franchises, man.
Yep.
I mean, it's the way it goes. And I've got a question about that in just a minute.
Sure.
Let's go over like 2023 a little more, because there's another one on there that a little Canadian indie called Skinamarink that was a limited release, pulled in $2 million at the box office.
Wow.
I was mad. I was going to go see it, and I was going to go with a buddy of mine, and we just couldn't sync up because it was like, it's on Shudder now.
Yes.
And it's like, I want to see this in theaters.
Oh, okay.
It's dark. I have no idea what it's about. I still don't want to know anything. I've heard very mixed things.
Okay.
But I do like the odd horror type stuff, and that's all I know about it.
What do you think of this? And we've said we were going to do this with The Town That Dreaded Sundown. What do you think? We go up the Poconos, we put the sheet up against the garage, and we watch it outside. Is that the way to do it?
You had me if we go up the Poconos.
maybe if you have to see it in theaters, and now it's probably not going to be back in theaters for quite some time.
Yeah.
So why don't we try and make as best we can the theatrical experience. So we'll do that. So now we have two movies that we got to watch outside: The Town That Dreaded Sundown and Skinamarink. Sorry,
Skinamarink.
All right. So Megan, Scream, Skinamarink. What else we got?
Well, let's go over. What do you think so far? I was going to tell you about anything that came out in 2023. Which do you think would be the biggest letdown of horror?
I don't know, man.
The answer's Knock at the Cabin, but.
Yeah. Well, that's one that I was hoping to see in theaters, and I actually missed. And I usually don't miss M. Night Shyamalan movies in theaters, but I did this one. Sorry.
He's his own thing where it's like you just have to know what you have. Like once you know it's Shyamalan, there's going to be something odd in there.
Yes.
So.
Funny thing, completely unrelated. Wow, he's only 52.
Yeah, he got started young.
Wow. So check this out. I just saw this. This is apropos of nothing. M. Night Shyamalan buys former Rockefeller farm in Chester County for $24 million. That was a headline yesterday in the Inquirer. I thought I'd bring that up.
Good for him.
I was like, wait a minute. The descendants of oil magnate William Rockefeller Jr. sold the 218-acre estate in the hills of Chester County to M. Night Shyamalan.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I know he has someone in his family tree that's a neighbor to my cousin downtown.
Ooh. That's one step closer to that interview.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Yeah, so I have a hard time because I hate his movies. Mm-hmm. Are they necessarily horror? Maybe not anymore. Maybe he's just carved out his own genre at this point.
Yeah.
But he was like, for us being from the Philadelphia area, he does a great job by, including Philly in a lot of his projects.
Yep.
And so gotta like him for that, and I'll never take that from him.
All right, so Knock at the Cabin was disappointing. Real quick before we wrap on M. Night, that's I don't want to be stealing from other people's ideas, but I know when it came out, Movie Babble, our old friend Nick Cush, they did like a ranking of M. Night Shyamalan. I'm saying maybe we don't do a ranking, but maybe you and I do an episode of the Red River Horror Podcast where we pick 3 of our most important M. Night Shyamalan films. 3.
Yeah, I mean, we could give that a shot. I mean, it's the thing with him is like maybe you have to not include The Sixth Sense.
Okay, because take that out of it altogether.
That's the lock, right? Is there anybody who says that's bad?
It's like when we did the Halloween, ranking the Halloweens with Joe D from Different Take. It's like,
you just give it the original.
1978 is already number 1.
Unless you're keeping attention to some of those like Facebook groups where it's like they go out of their way to not make that number. Like, I just can't justify. I've just watched it too many times or something. It's like because it's the best one.
I remember just real quick on that with Daniel Farrens when we asked him, what's your favorite movie? Because Halloween 6 and where that falls in our rankings, and he's just like, how do you not know this? It's Halloween. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. So, all right. So that might be something to investigate. But Knock at the Cabin, most disappointing of 2023.
So far. I mean, we got some exciting stuff coming up in April where we'll get really hyped. Really hyped for Evil Dead Rise. Can't wait for that, April 21st. But also you have Renfield.
Ah, yes.
Coming with Nick Cage.
Yeah. Dude, Nicolas Cage, he is, for as I guess we'll say, bad, goofy that he was, I am freaking loving Nicolas Cage, this new version over the last, I would say,
talk about a guy who just takes ownership of I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want.
Yes.
I mean, Nick Cage,
dude. And the spoiler alert in a good way, Renfield will be reviewed by Stacey Lane Wilson for RedRiverHorror.com.
Outstanding.
So I'm excited.
So I usually love everything Dracula related.
Yeah,
it's always fun. This looks like it should be a good time.
Yeah.
Curious how it's going to go. Especially with he's Dracula in it, I believe, and just his energy, the way that's going to it's going to make for something interesting, but also released on the same day, The Pope's Exorcist.
Yes.
April, which could be very interesting.
I think I know you're feeling on because you lived through the great exorcism reboots, I know you were not a fan of all of the freaking exorcism movies that came out.
It got a bit much.
Right. This one, it looks pretty good, man.
It does look good.
I believe me, I get it. Like, I just remember you were just like, I'm done. I think it was by the time The Devil Inside came out, you're like, all right, enough with the damn Exorcist movie. I think this one,
The Devil Inside was the one with the great trailer, and the mom was in like a psych ward. Yeah, that was it. But that was also it for, I don't think there was anything that was prompted as a big release after that.
I'm trying to think of how the years went, but I remember like The Last Exorcism, which I did go back. I think we talked about it. I did go back. I liked that. That was Eli Roth's Exorcist movie. The Last Exorcism, The Devil Inside was 2012, I believe. So we'll have to put all those together. Maybe we can do because I remember you were I was like, oh, you want to go see this? You're like, no, I'm done. I'm done with the exorcism crap. So this one to me, I'm you think it looks good too? Because I think it looks good.
Yeah, I think it looks like I think it's going to be a good time.
Okay.
I'm trying to just embrace everything.
Yeah.
And skip the negative aspect and just kind of let things be what they are. And if I enjoy them, I enjoy them. If I dislike them, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to cry about it.
With horror, dude, I think that's where so I would love to, and I'm probably going to be doing some more movie reviews at the site, redriverhorror.com. So like, I'd like to become more of a reviewer. Like, I enjoy the process, kind of thinking it out, and how did the sound? Like, were the sounds good? Did it look good here? Whatever, the acting. But I think that's one thing that's one of the reasons that I would never be a full blown movie critic, is because I'm too optimistic about horror. I can see the good even in the bad. Like when we saw The Bye Bye Man, like that movie was like, people did not like that movie at all. I did. I was just like, oh, no, I thought he looked cool and this and that. And it was like, no, Ed, it's a bad movie.
Yeah, but he looked cool.
Yeah.
So you take the good with the bad.
I'm optimistic about horror film. When I go into a horror film, I'm optimistic.
I'm trying to get into that mentality with David Gordon Green's Exorcist trilogy. That why are they doing it like this? Is it going to be a fresh trilogy? It's not going to be a remake of the entire trilogy. Or even worse, doing like Halloween and picking up with Reagan in modern.
Oh, no.
I really hope not. I don't know. Like, for the love of God, no.
That's one thing you were tired of.
Please don't.
I remember that from previous podcasts. You were completely tired of the geriatric revenge.
Yeah.
It's got to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't do it. I mean, that Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What the hell?
I know.
It's like, yeah, the bus scene, like, it had its cool scenes.
I thought the bus scene was pretty cool.
Taking the good with the bad. But I've been looking for, it's like, he never moved. Yeah. He's been there the entire time.
Right.
Did you get lost? Like, if you wanted your revenge, you could have grabbed a whole posse and just went out. Like, I'm sure you could have gotten plenty of people to go out there and just shoot them up.
That's true.
But no, you're going to wait 40 years?
Yeah.
To catch a ride with a tour group? I guess she never got her driver's license or something.
But yeah, so the geriatric revenge plot, I as you know, we're not going to spoil anything or get into it, but yes.
I swear to God, if it's like we're watching this and then it's like, if, you know, this kid is possessed and then Linda Blair comes out of nowhere and be like, hello, Pazuzu. Yeah. I'm just going to turn off the TV or just walk out and be like,
I'm out. Good run.
I'm out.
No,
Not
you're
for
right.
me.
You're right.
These are the things that unnecessarily keep me up at night.
Well, no, because we were, and I think we will eventually flesh this out with Joe D from Different Take. Halloween ends, like, the thing is, and I know you already didn't like H4O. I did. I liked H4O. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Saw it in the theater. Had fun. Halloween Kills was ridiculous. Halloween Ends, it was just like, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Like, we're going to have a fight between Michael Myers and Laurie again. I didn't like how that ended. I thought it was just... So I can get where you're coming from. So, yes, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre by Netflix, this woman's waiting 40 years when, she could have just...
Anytime. He wasn't moving around like Michael Myers. He's in this...
Yeah.
You know, Leatherface. He's in the same place.
So if Linda Blair pops up and now she has to confront Pazuzu, yes, it's got to be done.
Yeah.
It's got to be done.
Cameo, cool.
Sure.
Action, no.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, but that leads me into this side of the episode. We're going to go over to Dreaddit.
Okay.
Because there's a question posted on there that it said, someone, the user DJA1982 asks, I don't watch the Elm Street movies after Dream Warriors, the Halloween movies beyond Season of the Witch, or Friday the 13th past the final chapter. Viewing anything more than that for me is done more so out of obligation than actual entertainment. What's your cutoff?
Oh. Huh. I would be interested. Can you ask if we can interview that person? That person hasn't seen anything past Season of the Witch and past the... What is it?
I don't know if he hasn't seen it, but he just doesn't, like, it just says, I don't watch them after that. So, like, probably, like, rewatching would just never go back.
Yeah.
Like, where's your cutoff of, like, there's no reason for me to ever watch that again.
Okay.
So.
What's the actual question in that? That was a long lead up.
It's what's your cutoff for, like, a film franchise, like, if we're just like, all right, that's enough. So, for example, where... Honestly, like, for rewatching Halloween, I'm pretty much just 1, 2, 3, 6.
Okay.
When it comes to rewatching,
yeah,
I really like. I give once again credit to you, Joe, Dr. Halloween, everybody with Halloween 4. Now, I'm enjoying that way more than I ever did.
I think it's good in the season.
Yeah,
Halloween 4 within the Halloween season is.
I want to watch it that, like, in March.
Yeah,
but one of those things where if I've embraced it.
Yeah.
More so than, but like 5, I have no desire.
Yeah.
So Halloween's a tricky one. Let's do, like, I guess, like, the Friday and the Nightmares.
Okay.
Are good examples. Like, I mean, I didn't even make it that far into Freddy. I mean, I like the first one the most.
Yep.
And after that, I'm kind of...
For me, dude...
Is my cutoff just the first one for all these?
I'm with you, except for I do really like New Nightmare.
Yeah.
All the stuff... So
but
the
New
first
Nightmare is
one's
like a remake. Almost. It's like a restart.
For me, so I look at it differently than that. I look at it as kind of like the end cap. It's just like, okay, like Freddy is on a TV show. Freddy is everything. Like, here's Wes Craven coming, like seeing what he has created and coming back and saying, okay, like this guy is not scary. This guy is not this. So I felt like, and for those huge Nightmare on Elm Street fans out there, I'm sorry, maybe he's expressed this in an interview. I felt like Wes Craven came back to right all the crap that was in between, and I thought it was really good. Like, at one point, the way Freddy looked in New Nightmare, I was just like, that's pretty creepy. You know, like I thought...
He's very creepy in New Nightmare.
Yeah. Like I thought... So I guess...
New Nightmare would be... I think when we talked about that before, that was like our definitive number 2.
No, probably.
Or at least for me. Oh, that's when you didn't like... We did an episode where you're talking about how you don't really care for...
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. So if we're doing Freddy, then I'll just say my cutoff is I watch Nightmare on Elm Street, New Nightmare, and the Michael Bay, the Platinum Dunes Nightmare.
Yeah.
If we're gonna say let's do a Nightmare weekend, that's where I'm. So I'm not doing anything in between Nightmare on Elm Street and New Nightmare.
Yeah, I mean the guy brings up Dream Warriors. After Dream Warriors, up in like. It's like a comedy. They're funny at that point.
Even when I was a kid and they would flash on, like it would be like, oh, like okay, I'm not as I was afraid of Michael Myers. I'm not as afraid of Freddy. He's kind of funny,
right?
You know.
I mean, that's the thing with a lot of them. Once you get deeper into the sequels, there's more like humor trying to be thrown in there.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, all right, you can relax on that,
right?
My favorite budget drop off of any series is Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, you and I saw Sleepaway Camp to death. We saw 1, 2, 3, and then that DVD that came with the survival kit.
Yeah,
I got that box, which is actually worth a good amount of money. I might bring if we're going to start hitting the convention circuit, I might bring that with us as a.
Yeah, because it had like shot scenes for another sequel that was never made.
There was a 4th one that was supposed to be made, and literally when we were watching it, it wasn't on a film camera.
No, it's like someone just had a camcorder. Yeah. I mean, the 3rd one, it's like if someone just filmed it with like a Betamax camera or something like that. With Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Yes, Pamela Springsteen.
Pamela Springsteen.
So, I mean, I can't... Obviously, the first one's great. I don't know. Maybe for fun, but that might be the cutoff with Sleepaway Camp. I don't know if we go back to 2 and 3.
When we're talking about like watching the random sequels now, I mean, there's plenty of us to find. There's plenty out there.
Yeah.
So I guess the other thing for me, I enjoyed like Scream 4. I had a fun time with it. 5. Probably never gonna be like into those like I am with the first 2. Okay. So like Scream 2 might be my cutoff, even though I love Scream 3.
Yeah.
But for different reasons.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Evil Dead, no cutoff there. I love all of them equally.
The only one, I will admit this is the big admission, Joe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I guess.
Go ahead.
No, okay, all right, you go for it.
All right, I haven't seen Army of Darkness.
I think I knew that too. There was some reluctance there, and I forget. I'm drawing a blank. So it's Army of Darkness, and I forget what they were trying to call it. It might have been like Medieval Dead. I think they were trying to have it called. It's a fun time.
Yeah,
it's silly. I enjoyed it.
I love the Evil Dead. I love Evil Dead 1. I love Evil Dead 2. The 2013 one was really good. I just couldn't believe how good it was.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness for me, it's just like it's like I like what's here, and I like the video games, and I like Ash and Bruce Campbell. It's like I stayed away from Army of Darkness because I think it might be too much for me.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, it's definitely that kind of threat, but Bruce Campbell's just in like he just is that what that character became.
Yeah.
And it just owns it in that, and it's weird, but it's good.
Yeah.
And then also Ash vs. Evil Dead, which was unfortunately canceled when it should just let them finish the dang story.
Man, they never. And if we talked about this before, I apologize. I did see the first season. I liked it a lot. I liked Ash vs. Evil Dead. Yeah,
it was great. And you had Lucy Lawless in there. She was great. It was a good time. Yeah. I told you, I'm not Xena. I'm Lucy Lawless. Xena can't fly.
Xena can fly?
I'm not Xena.
No, that would be something. I really do. I should finish Ash vs. the Evil Dead. I did enjoy. I was surprised. That show had everything that I would expect the Evil Dead to move to in this age.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it's more playing off of. It's such an interesting franchise in the sense where it rebooted itself without really thinking about it. I mean, I know a lot of people who aren't horror fans that they just giggle because of the low budget of the first one.
Yes.
And that really gets on my nerves.
Yeah. The first, because the orange blood and the claymation and the stop motion and stuff. Like, yeah, there's things to laugh at in the funny process, but it's not. This isn't George Lucas building worlds with millions of dollars and industrial light and magic. This is a guy, and I don't know if they're friends, but let's just say it's a guy and his friends creating a horror movie, and it's pretty cool.
I love it.
Love it.
Well, can't wait for more of it, and we will be talking about more of it at some point.
We might even do a two-parter on the Evil Dead. That's how important that is to us.
I think we are most definitely going to. Let's see. Let's grab something else from Dreaddit, and then we'll wrap this episode up. How's that sound?
Okay, we can do that. I'm just trying to give thought. The Friday the 13th movies, just so we tackle the big three. The Friday the 13th movies, I could watch every single one. Pretty much, even the one that everybody hates, they hate. I know they hate 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. I actually enjoy the slow pace. I enjoy how long it takes for them to get there.
Yeah,
I think that's fun. 2, Jason Goes to Hell. Yes, it's not good, but you got to remember that's the first one that I was. It's kind of like Halloween 6 was for you in that you saw that first, like when it was brand new. I remember seeing Jason Goes to Hell when I was younger. Like it was a big deal kind of watching that. It's ridiculous. It's off the walls, but I still don't know if I have a cutoff for Friday the 13th. I even went back and watched Jason X one of those times.
I like Jason Goes to Hell. I miss the feeling I would get walking through the video store and getting like a little creeped out.
Yes.
By the box art.
Yeah, the box art was good.
Like, whoa. Oh man.
All right, so the cutoff, so I get you.
Yeah.
But I guess let's continue on the Dreaddit.
I just don't understand where, like, I mean, there's plenty of series where I'm just like, right. Especially, like, I guess more so in, like, TV show. Every TV show has that aspect where, like, watch it up until, like, season 4. It really drops off after that. There's no reason to keep watching.
Right.
That's the story every time. I never saw the show Dexter, and every time I bring up Dexter,
people say season 4 is the cutoff.
Something like that. Anyway. And then last thing on Friday the 13th, we have Crystal Lake, the TV series, the Friday the 13th TV series coming in 2024. So, just chill and enjoy 2023 before that comes out with some more Friday action.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Now, here's a random one that someone like threw in there, and they just put a bunch of laughing emojis and a thumbs up and 100. And I'm just like curious. I'm like, I don't even know if this really counts as horror, but I remember thinking that it was like this insane movie that I was too young to go see. And that was a movie in 1995 called Congo. Did you ever get around to seeing Congo?
I did not.
Do you remember Congo?
Nope.
No?
I mean, I remember the
trailers on TV.
The TV commercial.
Yeah.
That's, I remember, I can't remember what was in it. I know that there was a monkey in it, but I don't remember. Is that right?
They're gorillas.
Gorillas. Okay, sorry. No, I didn't. So there was a gorilla. I remember the commercial existing and it being about a gorilla. I don't remember anything other than that.
It was piggybacking off of the intelligent ape craze of the 80s and 90s. Was the name of the gorilla she could sign language?
Coco?
Yeah, so that's pretty much what I was jumping off of. There's a smart gorilla.
Okay, so how we open the episode, now we have AI that's probably going to...
Smart bio.
Yeah, so now... Okay, so this played off
But I thought... I didn't know what to expect. Like, I just remember being like 10.
Yeah.
Being like, whoa, what is this going to be? I mean, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if I don't think I've talked about it all on this show. I finally watched it a long time ago, and it's not like a year ago. But just seeing it pop up in a horror sub doesn't make, I guess it could be considered horror.
Congo?
It's one of the silliest things I've ever watched in my entire life.
Okay. Well, that's the 90s, too.
Yeah, it's like I was expecting so much more, and it was just completely silly.
Okay, so Congo, I guess at some point...
that's another like topic that we'll have to tackle is the silly jungle movies of the 90s. So Congo, Anaconda.
Oh, no. Lake Placid. Oh, boy.
A lot of gems out there, but as we're coming to a close, there's something, what's your cutoff? Someone tweet that at me at Red River Joe, or you can tweet it at Red River Horror. Yeah, really curious where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not watching this anymore, and what the hell with future technology? What the hell scares the shit out of you?
Yeah, and it's funny, Joe, like I'm a huge Halloween fan. I would say that, well, I don't know if I like series-wise over Scream now. Scream has been pretty damn good. But Halloween, I've always been a Michael Myers guy.
Yeah.
But I think that I can watch more Jason movies than I can Halloween movies with the offering. I'm just saying simple offerings. While I like the quality of the Halloween movies much more than the Friday movies, I think by quantity, I would watch more Friday movies. That's crazy. That was weird. I hadn't thought about that until you brought it up. So yeah, what's your cutoff? I like that.
What's your cutoff when you say that's enough of that?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, if anybody's got suggestions for odd sequels, like straight to DVD sequels or straight to video sequels that are actually worth a watch, please recommend them.
Yes,
I would like to know.
Yeah, how does The Grudge 3 end?
I'd be serious. Someone was just like, "Well, the Butterfly Effect 4."
Oh.
Didn't really care for the first one.
No.
Great idea.
It was a good idea.
Just the overall movie, I thought was just really corny. It was a teenage date movie of 2004 or 3 or whenever it came out.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ashton Kutcher.
What's your cutoff? No, I like that. I think that's a good place to stop. And just there's some live events coming up that I think we might be a part of. If we can make this whole fall schedule work. Schedule.
Well, spring. I mean, Penhurst.
Yes, Paracon. Yeah, we're gonna try and we might see people in person there. Yeah, Penhurst presents Paracon. So it's a convention and an oddities expo, May 19th through the 21st. Joe, you shared it. I'm going to inquire more about it, but we'll hope to see some people there and hope to bring Red River Horror Podcast listeners some interviews from some of the folks that'll be there.
For sure.
So stay tuned for that. The season's opening up at the Mahoning Valley Drive-In. We're going to try and get up there. And in the weekends where we're not up at the Mahoning Valley Drive-In, we're going to try and do some outside viewing up in the Pocono Mountains.
Oh, giddy up.
Ooh. All right, so welcome back, Joe.
Hey, great to be back, Ed. For real this time.
Yes.
It's been episode number 90. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Red River Horror Podcast. And remember to keep traveling those channels of fear.